The Morgan Report with David Morgan.
David Morgan of themorganreport.com. First update, weekly perspective for the 7th of January, 2022. So lots to talk about. First thing I want to talk about, of course, is the overall stock market. And of course, the Fed minutes that were published recently this week from their December meeting was a very hawkish tone and pushed stocks lower and interest rates higher. The NASDAQ got whacked pretty good. Lots of drops in the technology sector. And the overall NASDAQ composite was showing a pretty good down move. And the volume was fairly significant. On the positive note, the financials and energy actually led the market and moved higher. And energy is going to be a very important part of it's the most important part of the economy. I think anyone who's followed my work is well aware of that fact. And I think there's going to be some surprises in the energy sector this year. So if you want something outside of the precious metals or resource sector, which we follow the entire resource sector, don't do a lot on the energy side. I used to. You might start looking at energy companies that make sense and have real profits. And actually, there aren't that many of them. Bond yields were hitting pretty much the highs that they've seen for the last several months. And that could be an indicator that we may be breaking into new territory if the Fed or when the Fed follows through with their hawkish stance. Just as a reminder, I am on the blog page, which is themorganreport.com/blog. And we've done 14 of these crypto conspiracy episodes. If you're going to do one, I would highly recommend you do this 14. It goes into what we say the dark side of crypto. But basically, Kurt Wickert is very much in tune with the Bitcoin situation, and he is an archivist, a historian. He really knows his stuff, and it was very, very enlightening to learn some of the things that he knew about Bitcoin's origin and what happened. And what got me interested in Kurt was watching a bunch of stuff from the Coin Geek, which he is on, and learning what I had suspected and having pretty good evidence that Bitcoin's been hijacked by the banking system, primarily the MasterCard umbrella. And I had that verified by the Load Project, which I'm a part of, which is a blockchain. It's really not a crypto, you can call it that. It's a blockchain-based system that digitizes or tokenizes gold and silver physically that you can use as a token and also redeem for the physical metal itself. So I want to point out for new people that over here on the right is the YouTube channel, the Twitter feed, the LinkedIn, and we do have, I think, a bit of a Facebook, but no friend. It's just a corporate account. You'd be much better off following us on Twitter or YouTube, or your business oriented, it might be LinkedIn. Lastly, I keep forgetting every week to mention that we are on Odyssey. And I think if you just type in the Morgan Report in Odyssey, you'll find us. That's really the only backup I have outside of YouTube, which, I could be deplatformed at any time. I have been warned more than once. Some of the content that I've posted has been taken down almost immediately. And just forearmed was forewarned, or forewarned is forearmed. I'm letting you know that I will not quit. The safest thing is to get on our free email list on the landing page, themorganreport.com. But if you're uninclined to do that, we are on Odyssey. Everything is posted there. I also have a Brighteon channel with Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, and you can find us on there. I think, again, that's posted under the Morgan Report. And we're sending almost everything that we do there. I don't know if Mike has his web guys post everything we do or not, but I'm pretty certain he has posted every one of the crypto conspiracy theories. And by the way, we will be going further on that series, but I don't know how much longer because we've covered almost everything I want to cover at this point in time. But we will have a new one coming up, and it is going to be, I think, a barn burner. Probably not affecting as many people as the crypto space or Bitcoin. However, it is actually rounding up a lot of the usual suspects into something very important for the future energy situation. So stay tuned for that. So this has come up again, and it keeps coming up, and it's fine. It's part of the silver story. This is about the Executive Order 1110, and the purported premise is that JFK was going to put together a silver certificate. But I looked at it, and it's not true. Now, the part that is true is that he did put together the U.S. Treasury to issue the currency removed from the Federal Reserve. And many say this was one of many reasons why he was assassinated. I am in that camp, but there were so many things going on that you cannot finger just one. But I would say certainly taking the money power away from the money powers is something that you're putting your life on the line. So there is a U.S. note. It's a U.S. note, not a Federal Reserve note, but it had nothing to do with silver backing. And I determined that. I wrote it in my private work. I might have mentioned it once or twice in the public domain. And before I did it in the public domain or wrote it in my own report, I needed verification. So I looked on the net and I found out with a little bit of effort that G. Edward Griffin, Creature from Jekyll Island is what he's best known for, and people that follow my work had the same conclusion, that he did not tie it to silver at all. And so that's what I've said, I've written about. But the best of the best, if I had to only follow one commentator, journalist, investigative reporter, I don't know, genius, it would be James Corbett, the Corbett Report. I mean, I think James is probably better than all of us. And he did one. And of course, I found it. I'm showing it to you now. If you want to go through this, it's corbettreport.com/JFK Fed. Pretty easy to find. I'll put it in the show notes on the description. It's mostly a video here, but he does a better job than me. And I took a fair amount of time to go through and write what I did in my report. But as usual, I don't think anyone could top James Corbett on almost any topic that requires some deep thinking. So this is probably the best one. It doesn't negate the fact that Kennedy was looking to remove the money power from the Federal Reserve. However, it didn't have anything to do with silver. And we can't look into his head, in the past and think, well, maybe once he had established United States note that maybe later on they might tie it. But you'll see from the Corbett report that he really wasn't that, from what the public statements are and what we could prove, he would say he wasn't that much of a silver bull. So I'll leave it there. Just want to get it out there because there's a lot of people that are coming into the silver market. There are a lot of myths in the silver market that need to be dispelled just for the sake of truth, just so that people know. And I'll leave it at that and move on to the next topic. And I'll follow up and finish off here on our Twitter feed. The Twitter handle for me is at SilverGuru22, all one word, at SALVERGURU22. And this is some of the stuff I've just posted recently. One, of course, I've been following for a long time is the food situation. I've been kind of ahead of the game. I was doing a food shortage situation well before it was even commented on the mainstream whatsoever. I'd say Ice Age Farmer is probably the best person to follow on that. And of course, my friend David Duvine of Adapt 2030 also does an excellent job. And there are others. On stuff like this, it's not my forte. I try to pick out the one or two best. Follow them. There may be better, but Christian does an excellent job in my view. And I posted this one that came from his channel on cotton production. Basically, I tagged it with economic contraction. That's what we're having. We're having an economic contraction. Of course, supply chain disruptions, etc. I think everyone knows that story. This caught my attention. I had to post it because of my affiliation with the late, great Harry Brown. Worship of the state is the worship of force. The worst evils which mankind had ever had to endure were inflicted by governments. And Harry Brown used to say government is force, and it probably came from this man. And just a reminder from The Economist, I think it was 1998, it was quite some time ago, about digital currencies. Death of the paper currencies. Yeah, 1988, January. Many years ago, coming from the Phoenix. Is that medallion representing Bitcoin? Well, think about it. And just a couple more that one I retweeted was on platinum. And platinum is very undervalued. I mean, if I was going to pick one, platinum or palladium, I'd definitely go with platinum at this point. And I wrote it in the private letter some time ago. They both do the same function, and platinum's about half the price of palladium. I was very bullish palladium at the right time, and it outperformed platinum substantially if you look at the charts or take a look at price performance. But now may be the time. These white metals, there's three white metals really: platinum, palladium, and silver. But these are not money in the sense of recognition as that. If you want to think about, oh my goodness, the natural ratio of silver is about 8 or 9 to 1 to gold, and it is. Platinum is 15 times rarer than gold is. So why isn't it 15 times the price? So the natural ratio really only means anything when those commodities are treated as money across the board. When silver was treated as money, it had a ratio in the marketplace that was very close to the natural ratio. Once it was demonetized in 1873, and it was actually remonetized sometime later, but not to the extent that it had been, you had a much different profile for the gold-silver ratio, and that's been for over 100 years now. So I'm going to leave it there. This is David Morgan of themorganreport.com. Remember, there's nothing more powerful than the truth. Seems to be in short supply these days. That's my opinion. I'll be back with you next week with another weekly perspective.